Yo, what's up guys, it's Lun-Gi. So today we're going to be taking a look at a Gem-Armadillo deck profile. So this is with the new support from TW02, and Gem-Armadillos are actually I think top 5 or like top 6 deck. They're right behind Memento in terms of tops, and that's because the deck is really strong. It's got some very good 1-card combos, 2-card combos, and can also basically negate Nibiru pretty easily. The deck is not concerned about Nibiru, and it can also recover pretty well. And in the OCG, it has access to Block Dragon, which makes it even stronger. So in the TCG, it will be a little bit weaker because there are some cards that the OCG has legal that the TCG does not. So you most likely have to play like a Fiendsmith version of the deck, which has seen some success, but most people prefer like a pure version of the deck. But in the TCG, assuming that Fiendsmith cards are still like legal by the time this comes out in like June, July next year or something, then you'll probably play like a Fiendsmith version as like a stronger version of the deck. But anyways, I'm going to be showing you a pure version in the OCG. So first up is 3 copies of your main starter. So I don't really know the English names of the cards, so I'll just put the name in text underneath the cards or on the screen whenever you see the card, so that I don't have to learn like 3 different names for every card every time a card comes out. So anyways, three copies of your main starter. Construct Angel Girl. So she triggers on normal summon. If she's sent to the graveyard from the deck, you can send a card from your hand to the graveyard to special summon her, and she also you can activate her effect as an ignition effect on the field. She allows you to normal summon a gem monster. So yeah, she just does like way too much. She does a lot. Kind of like a circular for Gem Knights, basically, with how much she can actually do. So 100% 3 copies of her, and then 3 copies of a card that's more like circular. So 3 copies of him. You can activate in the hand. He's an extender basically, but he also sets up your Gem Knight fusion in the graveyard, which turns on your normal spell. So he summons himself, and then his other effect is from the graveyard, where he can banish himself and 2 other Gem Knight cards to negate the activation of a card, I think opponent's card. So he's the guy that allows you to basically negate Nibiru and not have to worry about Nibiru in your combos. So it's pretty easy to set up. By the time you get to 5 summons, he is in the graveyard already with like other Gem Knight cards. So you can just negate Nibiru when they're activated. So it doesn't matter that you don't have Apollousa in the TCG. This deck will not be losing to Nibiru. So 3 copies of him, and then 3 copies of an old card, Gem-Armadillo. So on normal summon, he adds a Gem Knight card, I believe. Yeah, Gem Knight monster on normal summon, and he doesn't have a once per turn on him. So if you normal summon him early in your combo, and then later on you have your girl on the field, then if you have another one, or if you add another one, then you can just like normal summon it again, or if you have Seraphinite to give you an extra normal summon. So this normal summon does not conflict because it's an ignition effect, so it doesn't conflict with Seraphinite's extra normal summon. You can trigger its effect again to search again. So that's really strong. And then you have your rose. First, 2 copies of the red rose. So this card basically allows you to get your vanilla to the graveyard, so that you can summon your fusion monster more easily. So it loads up your graveyard, and from the graveyard it's also an extender. You can banish a Gem Knight fusion monster from your graveyard and then summon it back, allowing you to get like more material on the field. And since it's level 2, you can send it to the graveyard with Sprint's effect. So if you get if you get negated on your playmaker, right, your Gem Knight Link monster, then if you have another monster, which you typically do, you can just make Sprite Sprint, and then you can send this to the graveyard and then banish a fusion and then summon it back, and then you can use this other effect to dump a Gem Knight monster from your deck to the graveyard, which means you can also like send your angel, right? You can send your angel, then your angel can summon itself back, so allowing you to extend your plays if you get disrupted. So 2 copies of it, it's very nice. Yeah, you kind of want to have it like in the deck to be able to send, which is why you're playing like a second copy of it, even though it's like a hard once per turn. But in the Fiendsmith version, you'll play like 1 copy only because of like space constraints. And then 3 copies of the blue rose. So they're very similar, except this card is an extender from your hand, being able to send a Gem Knight monster from your hand to the graveyard to special summon itself. So it's an extender from the hand, and instead of sending from the deck to the graveyard, you send from the extra deck to the graveyard. So it does actually work with this card being able to make this card live by sending a fusion monster to the graveyard with its effect, and then copying the name as well. So name copying is typically not really needed in the new version of Gem Knight. It's typically not needed. So usually like your sending effects, you're just using to like load the graveyard to be able to, you know, banish cards and then add back your Gem Knight fusion typically. So the name copying is not like the reason why you send cards to the graveyard. So 3 copies of it being an extender. And then last 2 Gem Knight cards, 1 copy of Quartz, and then your vanilla is Sapphire. So yes, I'm playing Sapphire over the Thunder one, mainly because I like Sapphire's fusion. You can still summon him without Sapphire, but like I don't want to invest like three Gem Knight monsters just to be able to get him out for like the main combo. So typically you want to have him on the field so that you can use IP Masquerainer and him to make something like SP Little Knight, and then you'll trigger like 2 effects. His effect and then SP Little Knight to banish, so removing like 2 cards. It's a very nice interaction. So that's why I'm playing this one instead. But people like they use them like interchangeably. So some prefer like the thunder guy instead. I don't think it's that big of an issue, big of a difference. So it's mostly like your choice, your preference. And then for the non-Gem Knight cards, 1 copy of Researcher, Adamancipator Researcher. So you can search this with Block Dragon, and then it allows you to make Baronne de Fleur in your combo. Also, there's a chance that it might hit your rock monster with its effects, which is very nice. So it can be a playmaker as well. I really like it, but some people don't play it, but I really like it. Also being able to make like Baronne in your combo. And then one Block Dragon. It's limited in the OCG. Will it get banned? I don't think so. It was never banned in the OCG, but it was at 3 for some time, until 60 card Adamancipator Super Heavy Samurai last year. It broke the card. That deck was like top 3 deck last year after the tier format. So that got Block Dragon limited. But I don't think they're gonna ban it, because there's no reason to ban it. Honestly, it's strong, but not that strong with you know, Hulk banned and Link whatever, that Link 1. The really broken Link 1, forgot what it's called, Link Cross or something. That card is banned. So Block Dragon is strong, but like not that strong, honestly. And then for the hand traps, so you got tons of space for non-engine, triple Nib, triple Ash, maximum Maxi, 2 copies, and then Effect Veiler, just your hand traps to stop your opponent from doing stuff. And then Nibiru can it's still good against Ryziel. Not on the first turn, because they can negate it, but like on subsequent turns when they try to kill you, it's really good in those situations. Also, you can force them to detach material, like in the end phase, right? If they don't have like a material under Duo Drive, or even if they do, you can just activate Nib to force them to like detach, so that they have like fewer like interactions for you, or like on your turn, right? Having like a detonator with only like 3 materials means that they can only like negate once and then pop twice, which is like, you know, good news for you. Like fewer interactions is very good. And then for the spell cards, 3 copies of a new spell card. It's a searcher, and then also it's a fusion card. And yeah, each effect is once per turn. So the add and the fusion summoning are each once per turn. And then you can send Gem Knight monsters from your main deck to the graveyard to fusion summon if you have a Gem Knight fusion in your graveyard, which is why he is so important, being able to turn this on and then being able to use materials from your deck. But the restriction is that you can only use non-rock Gem Knight monsters to fusion summon. So this is Aqua, which is good news. And then this is a fairy, and then he is a fiend, right? So he's a dark fiend. So yeah, you can use them to fusion summon straight from the deck using this if you have Gem Knight fusion in your grave. 1 copy of Brilliant Fusion. Again, this is banned in the TCG. Konami TCG will probably bring this back before the deck comes out. I just don't see a reason why like they shouldn't bring it back. I don't even know why it's banned in the TCG, honestly. Like 1 copy, it's been at 1 copy in the OCG for like 5 years, and it's never done anything at all at 1 copy. So I don't know why TCG has kept it banned. You know, TCG just keeps things banned just for no reason. It's really stupid. But anyways, it's at 1 in the OCG. So I'm making this on the Sunday the 22nd of December. So the ban list is coming out. So I predict that this card will probably go to 2 and then go to 3 3 months later on another ban list. Yeah, it's a strong card, but really people don't really want to be like putting like bricks in their deck just for like an extra normal summon. But even if they do, it's like what are you gonna do? You're gonna FTK, like, you're not. What are you gonna do with like multiple Brilliant Fusion? It's just a strong card, but like nothing extremely broken. So I predict that it's gonna go to 2. So I have to get another copy of it probably tomorrow after the ban list. Yeah, so 1 copy of it, but from tomorrow most likely it will be 2 copies. Fingers crossed. And then 1 copy of Gem-Knight Fusion. You can dump to the graveyard easily. You can recycle it. You don't need multiple copies of it. It's only 1 copy of Gem-Knight Fusion. And then the other spell cards, 1 Foolish Burial can dump your Angel straight from the deck to the graveyard. You can also dump your Rose cards depending on what you need. You can also yard Block Dragon if you need to summon him to search multiple cards. So Foolish Burial, definitely a staple in this deck. 1 Crossout, double Call by the Grave, and then 3 copies of Impermanence. So card is 41. Guess could cut a nib to play only 2 nib. But yeah, other than that, I don't see any other cuts to make it 40. Maybe like 2 Nibiru, but I've been liking like triple Nibiru, just maximizing on nib, just reducing the number of negates on Apollousa, or reducing the number of interactions on the Ryziel cards. So yeah, 41 cards in the main deck. Now for the extra deck. 1 copy of Sexy Masquerena, 1 copy of Sprint, very useful if you get disrupted to continue your plays, 1 copy of SP Little Knights, and then 2 copies of our Gem-Knight Link monster, Gem-Knight Phantom Quartz. Right, so he's your main playmaker. This is the card that you'll be making first from the extra deck. Searches Gem-Knight card, and also allows you to fusion summon using monsters that are banished. So that's really, really nice. Definitely a strong card. 2 copies of him for the first turn, and then on another copy for like subsequent turns. And he can recycle himself. So yeah, 2 copies of him. 1 copy of Unicorn, and then 1 copy of Apollousa. So Unicorn is typically is actually used like in the opening combo. Basically to be able to trigger Block Dragon, because with the 1 card combo you don't really have enough like rock monsters to banish earth monsters. Yeah, I don't have enough earth monsters to banish to summon Block Dragon, so you need to use Quartz and another card to make Unicorn, and then you have enough, and then you banish and summon Block Dragon, and then you use them to make like Apollousa. So that's what Unicorn is mostly used for. And then Bagooska, if you do get hit with like Maxi or something like that, then you can make like a Bagooska and then pass. Probably like the easiest like floodgate you can make. Granite Loyalist, used to search your various rock monsters, especially Block Dragon. Then 1 Baronne de Fleur for your end board. You'll use Adamancipator Researcher and Adamancipator Researcher and a level 8 monster, typically one of your fusions, and then you'll make Baronne de Fleur. And then your fusion monsters, 1 Seraphinite, 1 Gem-Knight Aquamarine, so you need Sapphire to make him, or you can just use your new boss monster. 1 copy of Gem-Knight Lady Rose Diamond. So she's useful being able to remove cards, and also she's like a fairy type Gem-Knight monster, and she requires a fairy as her material, so allowing you to send your angel to the graveyard to summon her. And then this allows you to use Block Dragon as material, because he just requires a Gem-Knight monster and a rock monster. Also he's level 8, even though it's just like a vanilla. And then your new Gem-Knight boss monster just requires 3 Gem-Knight monsters, and then he can summon as many of your fusions as possible. And I think your opponent takes like half effect damage, but not battle damage. So he allows you to basically just like OTK by summoning a bunch of strong fusion monsters. Alright, so let's take a look at the 1 card combo. So the 1.5 card combo is with Nepyrim. So normal summon Nepyrim, add Hollowcore. Hollowcore's effects, pay cost, which is to send Gem-Knight Fusion to the graveyard. Special summon Hollowcore, and you link them away into your Phantom Quartz trigger effect, add Gem-Knight Dispersion, activate Dispersion. Since you have your fusion in the graveyard, Gem-Knight Fusion, you can use 2 non-rock Gem-Knight monsters from your deck to the graveyard. You can use 2 non-rock Gem-Knight monsters as fusion materials in your deck. So we have 2 fairies. We'll fusion summon Seraphinite. So next, both the effects will trigger. Chaining 1, send, and chaining 2 to add back. So summon and then add back Nepyrim. Then we'll use Nephirim's other on-field effect, Ignition effect, to normal summon a gem monster. So normal summon. Then we'll overlay the 2 level 4s into Gallant Granite. We'll detach a material and then we will search for Block Dragon, who's banned in the TCG. So in the TCG, the combo will be different. So at this point, you're like in nib range, but it doesn't matter because you have Hollowcore and then 2 other cards to banish. So before you have Apollousa in the OCG, before you can summon Apollousa, you got to make sure that you keep Hollowcore, a fusion monster, and then 2 other Gem Knight cards to banish for its effect, to be able to negate Nibiru. So when you do your combos, you just have to remember that rule. So next, we'll use the 2 of these to make Knightmare Unicorn. Some people choose to play Cross Sheep instead of Knightmare Unicorn, because then you can make Apollousa with like 3 negates. But Unicorn has become more popular recently. So with Cross Sheep, so we have to banish 3 with Block Dragon, right, to summon it. So we have to banish 1, 2, 3, right? So I have to banish 3 and then summon Block Dragon. So the main difference between Unicorn and Cross Sheep is that, well, Cross Sheep is an Earth monster, so that's good. That's nice because you can banish it from the graveyard to summon Block Dragon. But Unicorn does help you play through boards going second. It can help get some cards that are stuck in your hand out of your hand, like your roses. Your red rose, if it's in your hand, it's kind of stuck until you can like send it with like Nephirim or something. But Unicorn can send it from the graveyard to shuffle something back. You can also shuffle back your fusion monsters if you really need to. So Unicorn does have some more utility than a Cross Sheep, I think. But I don't think it's that big of a difference. Especially in the TCG, you don't actually need Cross Sheep because you don't have Block Dragon, so it's not that necessary. But you could play Cross Sheep instead of Unicorn instead. But in the TCG, you'll probably play the Fiendsmith version and not like a pure version of the deck, because you don't have like Block Dragon to be adding a bunch of cards to your hand. So at this point, you want to link them away. You have Apollousa, and now you have protection from Nib. So then you'll trigger other protection from Nib, and then you can trigger Block Dragon. So the cards you add are Researcher, Gem-Armadillo, and then your Crystal Rose. Since we haven't used Seraphinite's extra normal summon, then use Armadillo's effect, and then we'll fetch Brilliant Rose, who's always a Gem Knight card. So next up, we will activate our Gem Knight Fusion, and we'll banish Nephirim, and then we'll add it to our hand. Then we will send it immediately to the graveyard to special summon, and then we want to use its effect to send Zirconia to the graveyard. Send Zirconia to the graveyard, because we just want to load up the graveyard with like Earth monsters. Right, and the next thing you'll do is you will link summon your second Phantom Quartz. Then you will use your Fusion again, banish Seraphinite, add it back to hand. Then we'll use Quartz effect, and we will recycle our Seraphinite and our other Quartz. And then we will summon Brilliant Lady Diamond or something. We'll summon her. She's level 8, so now we'll activate Researcher. If you want to get lucky, you can use her effect, and then it means that you'll need fewer Earth monsters if you hit a Rock monster off of Researcher's effect. But we'll just assume that we whiffed, so we hit nothing of the effect. Alright, so we'll use these 2, and then we'll make Baronne de Fleur. And then next we'll activate our fusion, and then we'll use these 2, and we will summon Seraphinite again. Now since this is in the graveyard, we can use it, and then we can banish one of our fusions. Summon it back, use its effect to send Sapphire from the deck to the graveyard. Now we copied the name, and then we'll activate this again, but this time we'll banish Brilliant Rose, and we'll add it back to hand. Activates, so we will fusion summon using these 2. Alright, we'll fusion summon our Aquamarine in defense mode, since it has 2600 defense. And then next we will want to summon Block Dragon again. So banish 1, 2, 3 Earth monsters, banish 3, summon it back, so we'll link it away into Sexy Masquerena. And then we'll summon again, banish 3, summon it back. Alright, and then we will end our turn. We do have Hollowcore, and then we do have 1, 2, 3 options for banishment. Preferably I would banish these 2 along with Hollowcore to keep this in the graveyard, because it can actually dump Nephirim from the deck to the graveyard, and then you'll special summon Nephirim, and then you'll be able to trigger its effect. So this gives you follow-up by having it in the graveyard. So I would banish these 3, so itself and then 2 others to negate something on the opponent's turn. But for his effect, you need a Gem Knight Fusion monster on the field. So after you use its effect, then you will use Masquerena to send this to the graveyard and then link it away, because you won't need it on the field anymore because Hollowcore is gone from the graveyard. So just keep that in mind. So yeah, this is a number of interruptions. 2 spell and trap negates. This can negate spells and traps as well. And then we have 3 potential removals of this. But if you decide to use Block Dragon instead of this, then we have 2 removals, because SP on summon, and then yeah, SP on summon, and then its on-field effect is another removal. 2 negates of Apollousa, and then this will search for follow-up. Alright, so after you use it for the follow-up, you'll just you'll do this, and this. It's fine. Right, so if you send Block Dragon, then these are the 3 that you'll add. So it gives you the opportunity to actually like recycle your stuff, and then this searches for Gem Knight monsters, so you can get access to like Hollowcore and Nepyrim again. So your follow-up is like incredibly strong, being able to resolve Block Dragon on your opponent's turn. But even if you can't resolve Block Dragon for whatever reason, you do have access to this in the graveyard. So after this leaves the field, you'll be able to banish it to summon this, send Nepyrim from the deck to the graveyard, send Nepyrim from the deck to the graveyard, and then you'll be able to summon back the Nepyrim and then use its effect to add a Gem Knight card. So yeah, you do have some crazy follow-up. Anyways, that's it for the video. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Peace.